So let's take a look at this tweet from Mike Clay. This kind of gives you an idea of the position grades and the unit grades by position group. And you look at the Browns, they're kind of the midway down there, and when you look across, wide receivers a 0.9 on a scale of 1 to 4. Defensive interior linemen, so D tackles, 0.01. It doesn't get any lower than that. So those are two areas that are kind of glaring needs for upgrades. The edge grade is 2.3. That's because Myles Garrett. So those are the position groups we look at. And, you know, Tim, I don't think anybody would argue with that. So let's take a look at the best interior defensive lineman available. This is from the Bleacher Report. So the best pass rusher of the interior defensive lineman is Mathis from Alabama. Biggest sleeper, Jaden Peavy from Texas A&M. They list Hall 1, Mathis 2, Travis Jones, Neil Farrell, Leal, Winfrey, and Peavy are their top 7. Let's talk a little bit about Logan Hall. It's a guy I know you like. What do you like so much about him? If he's there at 44, you see Jalen Holmes is the comp on it. Hard-working, 2-year starter, projectable frame. The other thing that they say about him, and the caller alluded to it, you alluded to it, he's a guy that's 6'6", and you can potentially rush him outside. You can potentially kick him inside because of his skill set. He's really versatile. What do you like about him?
I think it's, the ability to be a pass rusher from the interior that really sticks out to me. I mean, when you look at, quarterbacks have said this in the past, that the one place they don't want pressure to come from is right up the middle. And if you have a guy who can create that pass rush in the middle of a defense, you really unlock so many different things, as far as scheme goes, how you can structure your line, how you want to attack the quarterback. And a guy like Logan Hall, who's got rare length for a defensive tackle, I think is fascinating. Maybe he needs to add a little more weight if he wants to be a defensive tackle full-time. But, a lot of physical tools. He's productive at Houston. I've said before, he's got the length to bother interior linemen and the size and power to be a problem for tackles, for offensive tackles. Again, as I said a little bit ago, I'm assuming there would probably be a couple teams that could be scared off a little bit because they don't know where to put him, whether he's a tackle or an end. The Browns just showed us with JOK last year that, that doesn't matter, that, the good teams, the teams with the smarter coaching staffs, they'll take the player, they'll bet on the traits, and they'll find a role for him. They'll create a role for him within the scheme, and that's how you maximize your talent. Because, when you draft specifically for need, that's where you get in trouble. If you draft for talent and then you find a place for him, that's when you can really maximize, what you have in the player you take.
Yep, find out what they're good at and only ask him to do those things. Don't ask him to do what he can't do. Another guy that I know you like, he was third on that list, Travis Jones from Uconn. And again, big guy. Jonathan Hankins is the comp. You see these, has a rumbling play style. What do you like about him? What do you see from Travis Jones from Uconn?
Well, if I were the Browns and I was looking at these tackles, the guys who are more of the true nose tackle types, the guys who are like 320 pounds plus or more, you see Jones weighs in at 325. He's definitely more of a plugger type of defensive tackle where you're looking for a guy who's going to eat up blocks, take up space, and kind of free things up for the guys around him. But I think what sticks out with Jones, and, he showed it at the Senior Bowl and through the athletic testing from the combine and throughout the draft cycle, is he has a little more upside than some of those other potential nose tackle types, like a Neil Farrell, like a Matthew Butler, that he may have the ability to develop some pass rush moves on the interior, and if you have a guy that can do those sort of things, like I said, quarterbacks hate pressure coming right up the middle. If he could turn into a guy that could be good going after the quarterback in the pass game, as well as controlling the line of scrimmage in the run game, then you really have something. That's kind of the ideal thing you want a defensive tackle. Right now, you're probably looking at him mainly as a run stuffer, but the hope for him is that over time he can develop some pass rush ability.
Yeah, for a big guy, he can move a little bit, and that's those are the type of skills that you hope you can kind of develop and get him into that pass rush mold.